Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namam Vishnupadhaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasyat Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hokam Karajivasi Pangam Lakati Padam Mate Shri Guru Tinata Ramanandam Madhavam Shri Chaitanya. Thanks. Yes. That is our Tarsim Prabhu. He's every day there for book distribution. We have every day, right? So Prabhuji, no, Prabhu. So Prabhuji is so inspiring. Even if it's raining, and he still goes out to distribute books every day. Every day he goes. Sold or not sold doesn't matter. अरे नहीं Prabhu. अरे नहीं Prabhuji. So nice to be in his association. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you. So today is actually a very important session, and the session is called "The Absolute Truth" or "Who is the Boss." Okay, this we always have this confusion, right? Does God have a form, or is God formless, or is God energy? Do we have one God, or do we have multiple gods? Right? So if you see Srila Prabhupada and our acharyas, our shastras actually make it very clear. Sorry to say, but a lot in our Indian household, my household also used to be, we used to have this altar, right? We have our altar, and in that altar we have every Devi and Devta. Every Devi and Devta. Okay. And we follow the same puja vidhi for everyone. In actuality, that's not the way it should be done. Every Devi Devta has a different kind of puja vidhi that needs to be done. But people of Sanatana Dharma don't know that. Right? They feel that if I don't keep this particular god, I will be actually offending them. But in fact, if you do the same puja vidhi, you are actually offending them. Right? And so we have to understand who is the Supreme Lord, who are the Devi Devtas, and that is mentioned. So today's session, we are not going by any kind of sentiments or attachment, right? We should keep that aside, and we should actually look at Shastra and what is Shastra saying. So one of the reasons Shastra is actually given to us to give us the knowledge, right? and with the absolute truth. The people of India are a little confused because they haven't taken time to actually read the Shastras. What is happening is because our family, our tradition, they have followed a certain thing, we continue following that. Right? We don't take the pain to actually take the book, take Bhagavad Gita, take Bhagavatam, take our Shastras and actually read and see what is actually written in it. Right? So Sri Krishna says that anything that you do, it should be in Praman. Praman Shastra, he says in Bhagavad Gita. It should be mentioned in the scriptures. It is not supposed to be followed by your whims and fancies, right? That's not the way you do Puja Vidhi. Yeah. And because of Srila Prabhupada, we are actually able to understand in a better way. Right? He has helped the whole world to understand who is the absolute truth. Do we have many gods or do we have just one God? Right? And this is very important for us as spiritual seekers to understand how we are progressing, what is the kind of focus that we need to have. Right? So let's start the session. Right? Are you all ready? Tell me, is God a person or an energy? Who says energy? Lift your hands. Okay. Who says he's a person? Nobody. Nobody says he's a person. Okay, one Mataji says. Prabhuji also says. Okay. So I've got for person only 2% voting. Right. For energy, everyone votes. Right. So we have to understand God is a person or energy. So let's actually look into Shastra itself. Okay. Please repeat after me. Vadanti tat tattva vidas tattvam yajnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti chabdyate. Can someone read this, please? Right. Thank you so much, Mataji. So here, we have to look at two things here. We're talking about transcendentalists. Transcendentalists are the people who are the learned people, right? Who are elevated soul. Right? They know the absolute truth as non-dual substance. That is, he doesn't have any kind of other duplicate. That is non-dual. Okay? And it talks about three aspects. Right? One is Brahman. It's not Brahman. Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So these are the three gradations that is provided in the scriptures. Right? One is Brahman, one is Paramatma, and one is Bhagavan. So today's session we'll actually, half of the session we'll focus on this. Right? These three gradations. And you will understand why people of different consciousness are concentrating on different levels. Right? So let's look into this. I'll actually start with an analogy, so that makes it very easier. So if you imagine we are going for a trip, right? Imagine we are going for a trip and I'm in the train. Yeah? I see this beautiful scenery. From far it looks like a portrait. Right? Nice, beautiful scenery. You see that, right? And far it looks like a portrait. Now once I reach the destination, I start trekking there. So when I start trekking, I see there are houses there. It was not just the mountain, the scenery, right? When I actually start trekking, there are houses there. There are people living in the houses. There are big boulders. There is a nice stream, right? So there are so many things that we see, right? And if you see, I'll give another analogy as well. So if you are in the train station, right, and the train is coming. For first time, I don't know anything about train. Imagine, right? First time I'm at the railway station. And from far, I see a light coming. Right? I see a light coming. And that's the first thing that I see. And then as the train is coming, I see there are compartments. Engine compartments. Right? That's the second thing that I'm seeing. Third thing, when the train stops, I see inside the compartment there are people. Do you understand the three different levels that I'm talking about? I'll connect it. Okay? So first is I see the light. Right? And the second thing I see is the compartment, engine compartments. Okay? They are slowly moving. Right? And as it stops, what do we see? The people in. Keep this in mind. Okay? Another analogy. Sunlight. Sunlight comes in when we are sleeping, right? Our mother wakes us up and tells it's morning, right? How do you know it's morning? Because sunlight comes in, right? We don't need to go, wait, I'll see outside if sun is there, right? So symptom is there of sunlight, right? Of the sun, that is sunlight. So we understand that sun is there. The sun has risen, right? So, and when we go outside, what do we see? We see the sun glow. And as per Shastras, there is a presiding deity of sun, Suryadev, sun god. Again, these are three different levels. So let me actually give you an understanding now. Okay. This is light. We are talking about Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. So there are a lot of seekers who actually speak about light or Brahma Jyoti. You all know Brahma Jyoti, right? And this is the Brahman feature of the Lord. The light, the effulgence, right? The Brahma Jyoti. That is the Brahman feature of the Lord. If you have pen and paper, please write it down. Things can get a little technical. I'll make it simple, but it's easier if you actually write it down, right? So one is Brahman. So you understood, right? And the next one is the Paramatma feature. What is the Paramatma feature? See, Brahman feature is all pervading. It's spread across, right? Brahman is spread across. The light, the Brahma Jyoti is spread across. What is the Paramatma feature? Image where? No, Paramatma is actually the localized aspect of Lord in our heart. Right? What does Krishna say? Hirdeshu. He's there seated in the heart as Paramatma. He says to Krishna, no? Sarvasya chaham hridisannivishto. Krishna says that. Sarvasya, everyone, every living entity, I am residing as Paramatma. So now we understood the Bhagavan feature is all pervading. And then there is Paramatma feature which is actually in our heart. Right? That is the four-hand form. Okay? And that is Paramatma feature. The Paramatma feature is also all pervading. But there is another aspect to Paramatma feature which is it's controlling also. Yeah? So there is Brahman, there is Paramatma, and then there is Bhagavan. So Bhagavan feature is the form aspect of the Lord. This verse, so for Lord, it says, scripture says the Lord has a form. Bible also there is a saying, right? Man was created in the same form as the Lord. So it is actually not right to say that we have a form and Lord doesn't have a form. That makes Lord, that has a limitation, that you're putting a limitation on the Lord. How can you put a limitation on the Lord? It is very difficult. The reason why you all didn't raise your hands when I said that Bhagavan or the person feature is because for you it's very difficult to understand. Lord, like us, how will he be able to manage? The one thing you have to understand is Bhagavan. He is not Jivatma. So it's very difficult. So in this, Bhagavan feature is someone who has got his own likes, who has got his own dislikes. He has got a lot of qualities. Right? So when I told about the train analogy, the first one is we see the light. That is the that is the Brahman. And as the train closes in slowly, we see bogies. And that is the Paramatma feature. As it stops, then we see inside. And that is the, we see the people. And that is the Bhagavan aspect. Right? And these are the three different gradations. And Lord says, which is the best? I'll come to that. I'll come to that. Now you understood what is Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan feature. So one more thing I'll talk about. What is Bhagavan? What do you mean by Bhagavan? We call everyone Bhagavan, by the way, but that's not the way it is. A lot of Devi Devtas we call it Bhagavan, right? But what is actually the meaning of Bhagavan? See, Parashar Muni, which is who is the father of Vedavyas, Parashar Muni has given an explanation of Bhagavan. He has got 6 qualities in full. Right? The first one is Aishwarya. What is Aishwarya? Wealth. He's got complete wealth. Then there is Jnana, complete knowledge. Virya, strength. Yes, great strength, complete in strength, complete, full in full, he has strength. Then there is Vairagya, detached, renounced, incomplete. Then what is it? Shri. What is Shri? Beauty. Beauty, money also they say. In this it's beauty. In this it's beauty. Is the most beautiful. And then Yasha. What is Yasha? Fame. These are the 6 qualities. You can write it down. These qualities. These are the 6 qualities mentioned by Parashar Muni. Right? And this is the explanation of Bhagavan. The first one is Aishwarya, Jnana, Virya, Vairagya, Shri, Yash. Bhagavan is someone who has got this in full. In full. In this world, you will find someone with a lot of money, but he will not be probably very beautiful. Right? In this world, you will find someone who is very renowned, but he may not be the most wealthy. But Bhagavan is someone who has got all these 6 qualities in full. Is that understood? Now we understood the definition of Bhagavan, right? We just call Bhagavan everyone. We have to understand who is Bhagavan, right? Now we got the 3 different gradations, which is Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Okay, so let's dig deep into the Brahman feature. Okay, so let's look into what Lord Brahma says. Okay, you can repeat after me. This is a different meter actually when we actually recite. This is actually from a very popular scripture, very important scripture called Brahma Samhita. This is the prayers of Lord Brahma towards Lord Krishna. Okay. Yasya prabha prabhavato jagadanta koti kotishva shesha vasudhi vibhuti bhinnam tad brahmanishkalam ananta ayesha bhutam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. So here, Lord Brahma says, I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, whose effulgence is the source of the non-differentiated Brahman, mentioned in the Upanishads, being differentiated from the infinity of glories of the mundane universe, appears as the indivisible, infinite, limitless truth. So the effulgence or the Brahman feature that we talk about, the light, the Brahma Jyoti, is the effulgence that is coming out of Lord Krishna's body. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Brahmano aham pratishtha. The effulgence that you see, or the people that you are seeking, the formless aspect of me, it is actually the effulgence that is coming out of my body. You know, right? It is Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So from Bhagavan, the effulgence that comes out is the Brahman feature. So here, this is mentioned in Brahma Samhita, and this is also mentioned by Sri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, where he says, Brahmano aham pratishtha. Right? He says aham. So it's very important when you read the things that Lord, there are various kinds of Bhagavad Gita that you get on the get in the market. That's why I said, no, it is very important to read Bhagavad Gita that is according to the Sampradaya. There are a lot of things when Krishna says Mam, Ekam, Aham. He's actually he's making it clear, it's me, me, me. There are different versions of Bhagavad Gita. He's actually talking about someone else. Sanskrit is same in every Bhagavad Gita. The interpretations are matter. And interpretations should not be done by a normal people or mundane scholar. It should come in Sampradaya. That's why you say, Evam Parampara Praptam. That's why Krishna makes it very clear. It should be read under a Parampara, bona fide Parampara. Then only you will get the essence of Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam. Right? So that's why Krishna makes it very clear. Still, people of Sanatana Dharma are very confused because there are so many varieties in the market, right? So many varieties. But as we come into understanding Bhagavad Gita, we understand where we went wrong. Why our understanding was at that particular level. Right? So here Lord Brahma talks about the Brahman picture. Okay? Energy and the energetic. Shakti and Shaktiman. Okay? So the energy comes out of the energetic. Right? There's a person and his energy is called Shakti. Okay? See, this is the shloka that I was talking about. Brahmano hi pratishtaham. Okay? So Brahmano hi pratishtaham. I'll just read the translation. And I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal, and is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness. Now we understand, right? Now we understand what is Brahman. So Krishna makes it clear, the effulgence that is coming out of my body is the Brahman feature. The Brahma Jyoti, people who jnanis or yogis, actually who meditate on the Brahma Jyoti, that is the effulgence that is coming out of Krishna's body. Okay? Let's look into Paramatma feature now. Okay? What is Paramatma? So here, this is actually mentioned in the Mundaka Upanishad. Okay? This verse, you can actually write it down. See, everything that whatever I'm going to say, it has to be, like I said, Srila Prabhupada has made it very important. Whenever we preach or whenever we talk about Lord, we should have a praman. I should not talk loosely out of my interpretations, or that is not the way we do it. Right? That's why if you see, everything will have a scripture and the verse number. You can go, and if you don't believe me, you can verify. Okay? So here, let's talk about Paramatma. So it is two birds, inseparable companions, perch on the same tree. One eats the fruit, the other looks on. The first bird is the individual self, feeding on the pleasures and pains of the world. The other is the universal self, silently witnessing all. So when Krishna says, Sarvasya Chaham Hridi Sannivishto, like when he is seated in everyone's heart. So we have our soul, and next to that is the Supreme Soul, which is the Paramatma. This is Paramatma, which is seated in the heart. So our soul, we are actually doing whatever nonsense we are doing in this world, enjoying ourselves. And the other bird, who is Paramatma, is actually witnessing. He is seeing what we are doing. Do you understand the analogy here? That is Paramatma. Right? Paramatma is seated in every living entity. Every living entity. Even a pig who eats stool, Paramatma is seated. That's how merciful the Lord is. We will say chi, yak, tu and all. For him, it's still a part of him. It's how merciful Lord is. So that's all. So that's the Paramatma feature. You understood, right? Paramatma feature is the localized aspect of the Lord in every living entity. Okay? That is Paramatma. Brahman, we know, it is the effulgence or the light that is coming out of the Supreme Lord. Yeah. Okay. And this is another shloka. This talks about Krishna's energy. Yet in this body there is another, a transcendental enjoyer, who is the Lord, the Supreme Proprietor, who exists as the overseer and permitter, and who is known as the Super Soul. Here, Lord. This is again a mention of the Paramatma itself. Right? It's saying in this body there is another transcendental enjoyer, apart from the soul, that our soul, that is ourself. There is Paramatma who is seated. And he is the one who is the supreme proprietor. He exists, he oversees and permits. And he is known as the super soul. That's why I said he controls us. I said no. So he is the one who is overseeing your activities. He is the one who is actually permitting some actions as well. Right? So this is the sloka where Krishna says, I am speaking about that. Ishvara sarva bhutanam hriddeshe arjuna tishtati brahmayan sarva bhutani yantra rudhani mayaya. Can someone read the translation?
The Supreme Lord is in everyone's heart, O Arjuna, and is directing the wonders of all your living entities, who are fitness as on a message made of material energy.
Yes. So, Lord is situated. Again, this is the understanding of Paramatma. So many pramans are actually in Bhagavad Gita itself, Lord actually is giving. Right? He is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna, and is directing the wanderings of all living entities who are seated as a on a machine. That's why Yantra Rudani Maya. Yantra, it's like a machine, right? Our body is like a machine, made of material energy, right? So you understand, right? Brahman you understood, and then you understood the Paramatma feature, right? See, there are so many Krishna, right? Again, Krishna is saying, see, he's saying, Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto matasmritir jnanam apohanam cha vedeshchu sarverahameva vedyo vedanta krit veda vid eva chaham. Again, Krishna is saying, I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. Right? By all the Vedas, I am to be known. What is the use of reading all the Vedas? What is the ultimate reason to read Vedas? Is to know Krishna. Krishna is mentioning Vedeshcha Sarve Ahameva Vedyo. What is the essence of reading all the Vedas? It is to know me. Why? Because he says Vedanta Krit Veda. I am the compiler of Vedanta. That is the literary incarnation of Krishna. Who is that? Veda Vyas. And I am the knower of the Veda. Veda with Evacha. Now we understand. Now we understand why scriptures, a lot of people say, no, why should we read scriptures? It must be a thought of a mundane person. Is this a thought of a mundane person? When Krishna says, I am the compiler, I am the knower, I am the one who compiled. He makes it very clear. It is not, that's why Vedas or the scriptures are called Apaurishya. Apaurishya means it's not by a mundane person of this material world. And that's why Veda Vyas, who is also called as an avatar of Krishna, is a Shaktyavesh avatar of Krishna. There are different avatars of Krishna. We'll actually get to that. I don't know if we'll actually get to that in this particular slide or in this particular class, but at a later point, yes. And that is mentioned in Bhagavatam. Right? So now we all understood, right? He is seated in everyone's heart. Right? And he is the one who is actually compiling the Vedas. He is the knower of the Vedas. And now we know why we have to read the Vedas. What is the ultimate goal of reading any Vedas? By the way, Vedas doesn't mean just the 4 Rig Vedas, Yajur Vedas, Samveda. It's not just the Vedas. Vedas actually mean knowledge. Knowledge that is coming out of the scriptures. So every scripture is called a Veda or Vedanta. Yeah. Okay. So let's actually look into, now we know the Brahman feature, now we know the Paramatma feature. Let's look into the Bhagavan feature. This is such a popular verse from Brahma Samhita by Lord Brahma. Please repeat after me. Ishvaraha Paramaha Krishnaha Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govindaha Sarvakarana Karanam. Can someone read the translation?
There are many personalities stating the quality of Bhagavan, but Krishna is distinct because none can explain the He is the supreme person and his body is itself eternal, full of knowledge and grace. Hell is the benevolent God, God Govinda, the cause of all causes.
Cause of all causes. He is the Sarva Karana Karanam. He is actually here, Krishna, he is Brahmaji, he is actually Ishvara Parama Krishna. There are many Ishwaras. But out of that Ishvara, the Parama one is Ishvara Parama Krishna. Satchidananda Vigraha, Satchit Ananda. So he is a form. Vigraha means a form. So what is the form? Satchit Ananda. He is full of, he is eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. These are the three qualities. Satchit Ananda Vigraha. Anadiradir Govinda. He doesn't have a beginning, he doesn't have an end. And he is the Sarva Karana Karanam. He is the cause of all causes. Lord Brahmaji is actually offering this praise. This is such a nice in Bhagavatam. I think one of the stories, right? So in this, after Brahma Vimohan Leela, I will talk about this Leela a little later. Brahmaji is actually asking forgiveness from Lord for his mistake that he did. And then the Gopas are there, or Krishna's friends, right? I heard this from a beautiful lecture from one of our senior devotees, so nicely. And the Gopas are in so much of love with Krishna, right? They will not take him as Supreme Lord, Bhagavan, because their love covers it. ये तो हमारा लाला ही है, चोरी करता है. And then they see Brahmaji with 4 heads bowing down to him. Then they say ब्रह्मा जी के पास तो 4 सर तो है, लेकिन दिमाग तो बिल्कुल नहीं है लगता है. ये हमारे चोरी करने वाले लाला के सामने सिर झुका रहा है. That is the love that they have. So any times even Krishna shows his opulence, right? Lifting the Govardhan hill or whatever he does. For them it's something that they can't believe. That's why they said, no, Krishna, you can go. We'll actually keep the stick. We'll hold it for you. So your hands will start paining. And Krishna leaves and stick starts breaking. Then he says, no, you come back. Right? So that is how. That's a love for Gopada. I completely went into a different track. But that's how it is. So here you understood, right? So Lord Brahma is actually offering his prayers to Lord Krishna. Right? And this is from Brahma Samhita. Right? Brahma Samhita is a scripture that was found in South India. Actually, we don't have the entire scripture. There's only one chapter that is there. That's the 5th chapter. And imagine, and this 5th chapter itself has so many verses that is glorifying Lord Krishna. Imagine, we didn't have the entire book. It was destroyed. Okay? And this is the 6 opulences that I spoke about. You can take a picture, or you can take the Praman that I've given, Vishnu Puran 6.5.47. So Parashar Muni actually explains the 6 different qualities or opulences of Bhagavan, who is to be called Bhagavan. And that is Aishwarasya, Samagrasya, Veerasya, Yashasya, Sriya, Jnana Vairagyasya Chaiva, Sanam Bhagam Itinkana. Bhagavan means who possesses these 6 opulences in full. All riches, all strength, all influence, all wisdom, all beauty, all renunciation. And this is called Bhagavan. If you read, how many Puranas do we have? 18 Puranas. Who was it written by? Vedavyas wrote all the Puranas and the Upanishads as well. If you read any Puranas, where is the Purana which mentions that's Bhagavan? If you see Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam is the only Purana or scripture that has got Bhagavan Uvacha. Do you understand? People don't pay attention to this at all. Right? Before coming, none of us would have actually paid attention to it. So we have to understand there are different gradations, right? And we have to understand this is for us to actually focus and make our life very successful. Like I said, it's very difficult for us when you actually, even when my altar used to be there, right? It used to be a khichdi, right? Whom to worship. Aaj Monday ke din I have to worship Sai Baba. Tuesday ke din I have to worship, go to Hanuman ji, right? Saturday ke din Shani Dev. 33 crore Devi Devtas. Do you have the time to actually worship them? Right? And so we are so scared. So many things are pulling us back. Right? Our tradition, our cultures are actually, our attachments, our sentiments. These are the ones. I'll tell you, a lot of people, their head is like, brain is like that cemented machine. You know what happens if you pour cement for a long time and keep it? What happens? Get dried. You can't make any impression. So that much sentiments and attachments we have. So it is very difficult for us to even imagine Krishna as Supreme Lord. Well, the Shastras say Krishna is Supreme Lord. Right? Now you got to know the 6 opulences of Bhagavan. And now you know if it's Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, where any time there is a mention of Krishna, it's called Bhagavan. Right? In Bhagavad Gita, every shloka it is Bhagavan Vacha. Right? Now I spoke about the 3 different gradations of the understanding, that is Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan. So these are the 3 different gradations that Krishna actually explained to Arjuna in the battlefield. And like always, like all of us, Arjuna had this question. What is the question? You have told me all this, Krishna. You have told me all this. I'll just read the translation. Now you have to tell me which is the best to worship. 3 aspects you have shown: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So Arjuna is asking, Arjuna inquired, which are considered to be more perfect? Those who are always properly engaged in your devotional service, or those who worship the impersonal Brahman? Like we all have, no? Like when I ask the question, God is the formless or person? Formless, everyone raised hands. Person, just 2 people raised hands. So like all of us, Arjuna had this question. What does Lord actually answer? Lord says, you can actually take down all the Praman, okay? So this is the first one. 12.1, Bhagavad Gita 12.1. That is where Arjuna asks, which is the feature that I should worship? Which is the best? And Bhagavad Gita, chapter 12, verse number 2. Krishna says, what does Krishna say? I'll just read the translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, those who fix their minds on my personal form are always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith, are considered by me to be the most perfect. So what does Lord say? Which is the best? Person. Which is the 3 gradations I gave? And in this, which is the best, Krishna says? Bhagavan. See, the essence of scriptures, I'll tell you why it's logical also. Okay, let's actually continue with this, and then I'll tell you why it's logical also. Right? We need to understand the logic also why Krishna is saying that. Right? And Krishna will explain that also. Right. I'll tell you, I was just getting to it. So it's very simple, okay? In our life, right? I'll tell you an example. We always, human beings are very emotional, right? We always care, look for love and want to give love. Be it our family, relatives. We give love to a light. We are constantly having, serving or loving a person. Be it a child, be it a family, be it anyone. It is logical only, right? Can I have any kind of affection for this light? I'll be crazy if I have. Will I have? So that's why Krishna says, see, ultimate essence of Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam is what? Is the loving relationship between Bhagavan and his devotees. How will that come? Unless you don't have a person with qualities, a person doing so many leelas. See, that's when we think of Krishna, right? Krishna is such a beautiful child who comes and steals Makhan, who not just steals Makhan, who steals the heart of every devotee. And so many pastimes he has done, be with his Gopas or Gopis. So many wonderful pastimes. In the month of Damodar month, We read about the entire Damodar Leela, right? Such a beautiful Leela. Whole month we actually worship that form of the Lord. It is just one form of the Lord. There's got so many forms, so many Leelas. And that's how we develop. So if we have to love someone, we need to know about the qualities. Right? In the mundane world, material world, I'll tell you a very weird example also. College, if a guy likes a girl, right? What will he try to find out? What she likes? Her interest. See? This is very important, right? If you want to know someone, you need to know about that person. Right? And that's why Krishna says it's only logical for us to develop that kind of love that you worship the form aspect. So why do we have? That's why do our ancestors and so many people have built temples? Why? And we have installed deity using prana pratishtha. Why? To invoke Lord, and that we can offer our services to the Lord. So in Sanatana Dharma, Lord is not someone who is sitting up there with arms in his weapon, waiting to punish us. No, that's not. He is all loving. He is all merciful. He is all compassionate. And we have this thing like Lord is someone is watching us. He's going to kill us. No, he doesn't want to. Will a parent ever want to do? Though his child does mischief, will she or he will ever want to kill? No, punish. Punish in a small way so that that person understands. Then Krishna says, "Aham be that I am the seed-giving father of every living entity." He is the supreme father. Our material father doesn't punish us that much. Our supreme father will punish us. No, it's only logical. The Lord is someone, Krishna is someone who is all loving. Right? So I'll get to that again. There are so many things I want to speak, right? And I don't want to go off track. Right? And see, Krishna is giving actually the reason why you are. There are a lot of people actually, yogis actually meditate on the formless aspect also. See, to have to understand formless in Sanatana Dharma, there is formless aspect and the form aspect. But Krishna says the form aspect is the highest. That's why Bhagwan feature is the highest, right? There is nothing wrong in doing worship towards formless, but it's not logical, Krishna says. So that's what Krishna says. For those whose minds are attached to the unmanifested, impersonal feature of the Supreme, advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied. It's very difficult. Very difficult. At least in Kali Yuga, you can't do that. Meditate for 5 minutes, you'll fall asleep. There are so many devotees who have actually gone into yoga studios, right? They go to yoga studios, actually they do meditation for a long time. After some time, people go into samadhi, and you can hear snoring. That is the samadhi, right? You're 5 minutes into the meditation, and people are snoring, right? And that's why Yuga Dharma. When I spoke about Yuga Dharma, it's so important. What is the Yuga Dharma? What is Kali Yuga Dharma? What does Krishna say? Chanting of the holy name, chanting Hare Krishna. Kritaya dhyayato Vishnu. In Satyuga, it is meditating on Vishnu. Tretayo yajato makher. In Treta Yuga, it was yajna. Dwapare paricharyam. In Dwapar Yuga, it was temple worship, elaborate temple worship. Kalau tad Hari Kirtana. In Kali Yuga, it's Hari Kirtan. And you get the same benefit that people of other yugas got. See, Lord also knows people of this yuga, their memory is small, memory is short, lifespan is short. They can't do meditation. People in Satya Yuga used to meditate for thousands of years. 5 minutes, I told you, yoga studio. What happens? We go into samadhi, right? So we have to understand what is logical and what should be done in this particular yuga. So Lord has actually made it so simple. And we are humans, no? For us, anything simple, we think, hey, ऐसा तो नहीं हो सकता है. Simple is complicated. See? ऐसा तो नहीं हो सकता है. इतना simple. तो थोड़ा tough चाहिए. Challenge ourselves. Mataji, can you all come a little forward also? Prabhuji, you also come a little forward. As people are coming. So that's why Krishna says that it's not very easy to actually meditate on the impersonal feature of mind. And as, like I said, as emotional people, as people who are actually longing for love, the form aspect is the foremost. That's why. Okay. Why is it troublesome in case of Brahman? So that's why. See, we are always a person. We are always a person, and we always want to serve. We are always serving, right? Here in this material world, we are always serving. So nobody can say, I am the boss. You are always serving. Even if you're a boss in the company, you're serving your employees, you're serving your customers. Even in the house, you say, I'm the head of the family. No, you're serving your wife, you're serving your kid. Right? If no one, we'll keep a pet also. We'll serve the pet. So we are always serving. Where does that serving mentality come from? Serving mentality is always innate in our soul because we were serving Lord in the spiritual world. So when we carry the same mentality when you're in the material world. So service, just that it is deviated. Just that it is deviated. That's why even in the mundane world, we are serving so many people, still we are not satisfied. And the person whom we are serving also, they are also not satisfied. आज तक तुमने मेरे लिए क्या किया? After doing so much. After doing that, you have heard this, you would have heard this, no? Right? That is because we are serving the wrong person. Not that I'm not telling you not to serve. Serving should always be there. You should always serve your family and relatives and your friends. But you have to understand where that serving mentality comes from. That is because we were serving Supreme Lord and we were actually relishing the reciprocation while we were doing that. And that is the essence. See, I want to talk about maybe after a few classes, there is an avatar of Yuga avatar, Kali Yuga avatar of Sri Krishna called as Lord Chaitanya. I'll actually explain about Lord Chaitanya after 2 classes. So when Lord Chaitanya, he came 500 years ago. Not many people know about this because again, we don't read scriptures. Yeah. So, that's a blunt truth, by the way. I'm not putting anyone down. It's just that we have to know our reality, right? That's very important. And so when Lord Chaitanya actually went to South India, and he actually saw a Brahmana who was actually reading Bhagavad Gita, and he was crying. Okay, and there were people sitting beside him, and they were all laughing. Right, and Lord Chaitanya asked him, "Why are you crying? Right? Why are you crying?" So he said, the Brahmana said, "I don't know to read Sanskrit, but my Guru has asked me to read Bhagavad Gita." Right, and he said, "But I see all the emotions that I should see in a devotee. Like he's crying constantly, right? His hair is standing in his hand. He's like, these are all ecstasies that I see in a devotee. So even you not understanding, how are you getting these emotions?" So he said that, see, our Lord, who is Sarva Loka Maheshwaram, who says, I am the proprietor, right? Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. Aham Sarvasya Prabho, Matas Sarva Pravartate. So Krishna is saying, no, Aham Sarvasya Prabhu, I am the Supreme Lord. Everything comes after me. And that Supreme Lord has become the charioteer of his devotee. In this material world, tell our boss to become, what will happen? So that is the loving reciprocation that we have with Krishna. As we serve Krishna, Krishna also wants to serve us. He also wants to enjoy the reciprocation with his devotee. For us in this material world, servant is a very chota mota word. But we as devotees take a lot of pride. So when Srila Prabhupada, one of the reporters asked him, when he was actually preaching Krishna consciousness in US, so they asked, Srila Prabhupada, are you Krishna? He said, no, I am the servant of Krishna. That's how a guru is. Right? And that is very important. We have to understand our constitutional position. Jivera Swarupa Krishnera Nityadas. Our constitutional position is of a servant. We are part and parcel of Krishna. Right? And we have to serve Krishna, just like your hand. Can I feed food to the hand? I have to put it through my mouth only, right? Right? Can I feed food? Cut it and keep it aside? No. That is our position right now. What will happen if you cut my hand and keep it there? It will rot and die. As long as it's with my body, it is fresh and nice. That is what has happened with us. We are completely away from Krishna, and we are rotting only. So when we attach ourselves to Krishna using devotional services, that is called as the perfection of life. Okay? So we are always served, service, and servant. These are the three things. So who is the one who served? Krishna is the one who served. Service. We are offering whatever offerings that we do, the chanting that we do, the bhoga that we offer to the Lord, the aarti that we do. That is the service. And who is the servant? We are the servant. So these are the three aspects. Okay? So God is a person. He is the source of what we understood so far. God is a person. He is the source of the formless aspect, which is the Brahman. One should perform devotional service unto him. So this is the verdict of Bhagavad Gita. This is the verdict of Sri Krishna. Right? So Arjuna also asked all these questions for us, benefit of us. Because we also have these questions in our life, right? Right? So a lot of people have questions like, प्रभु जी अर्जुना तो वो टाइम पे व्हाट्सएप नहीं था, सोशल मीडिया नहीं था, उसको क्या प्रॉब्लम होगा? Right? Arjuna went into depression and had seeing a state that he was in. That state we have in every day in our life. Every day we have in our life, be it in our work, be it in our family life, be it anywhere. We go through that anxiety, that depression, that stress every now and then. And when we actually refer Bhagavad Gita, it answers all the questions that you have in your mind. That's why it said, 700 slokas is called the life manual. Right? In the modern times, it has got everything that you need to do even to excel in your company. Time management. Everything, time management, everything that you need. How to manage your stress, how to manage anxiety. Everything is mentioned. When to sleep, how long to sleep, what to eat. Everything is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. The only thing that is keeping us away is what? Ourselves only. Right? So we got the first section of our Krishna, what am I saying? First section where we wanted to actually have the gradations, right? That is Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan. We understood that Bhagwan is the topmost feature, and God in Sanatana Brahma is formless and has a form, right? And form aspect is considered to be the highest. That's why Krishna says, no, Bhaktya Mam Abhijanati, he says. Only a Bhakta will know me. He doesn't say Jnani Abhijanati or Yogi Abhijanati. He doesn't say that. Only a Bhakta will understand me. So even after all the yogas that Krishna told, he spoke about Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. And then Arjuna had this question, Krishna, you actually spoke about so many yogas. We'll talk about the yoga ladder next week. Was it the yoga ladder? No, that's next week. Next week is karma. Karma in depth we'll have. So all these yogas you have explained to me. Out of this, which is the best? Krishna says what? Yoginam api sarvesham mad gatentaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yomam. So he says, one who worships me. Shraddhavan bhajate yomam. It's bhakti yoga. That is yoga. After explaining all the yogas. Like, see, these are the questions that we all have. And this is the question that Arjuna asked also. It's making it very simple. And still, we want to take the straight line as the lift is given. We want to take the stairs. Why? A sane person will not do that. Right? He is making it simpler for us. Right? His Supreme Father, he knows how his people are, how his kids are. And he wants to get them back to him. So he is giving the easiest method for us. But still, we are like the kids who don't listen to the parents. He's still wandering here and there. And he has to get us back again. Right? So that's very important. So, first part of the presentation is complete. Now, another important. Are there many gods or one God? Okay. So this is a question that everyone used to have or everyone has even now, right? In Sanatana Dharma, right? People with various philosophies come and tell many gods. And we don't have one God and all that. Okay, and so that's why there is a lot of confusion even when we go into households, right? There's a lot of confusion, right? Whom to worship, right? Whom to offer a puja. Certain days we are kept for certain lords. The other days they are not there. Is that the thing? No, that's not the way it is, right? Lord is there every day, every time, right? And so we in Kali Yuga, there is a tendency that we make anyone God. Also. Someone does a lot of charity, oh to Bhagavan. Anyway, so that's why the people of different faith actually tell no, they actually make fun of us. इनके लिए तो हर दिन नया भगवान आ जाता है. You know, you would have probably heard about this, right? And that is one of our mistake only. Without reading Shastras, we actually make anyone God. See, Lord incarnates or Lord takes avatar, it's actually mentioned in the Shastras. If you're talking about some person, you're taking him as God, you have to actually check Shastras if he's mentioned. If he is not, he's not God. There is no mention. Because in Shastras, there is mention of everyone. And without that, if you actually consider someone as God, or that is not the right way. You can take someone as Guru if he's actually taking you towards God. And he's speaking from Shastra. That is a right Guru. That is called an Acharya. Right? He speaks only from Shastras. He's not speaking about whatever whims and fancies he has in his head. According to me, so and so person will take care. No, that's not the way. What is mentioned in Shastra, according to that you should do. And he does that and you follow him. That is called a Guru. Right? So let's look into this. Many gods, are there many gods or one God? Let's look into Shastra itself, right? Everything we look into Shastra, right? So here, again we are getting back to the same shloka. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. So Krishna is known as Govinda. He is the supreme Godhead. He is an eternal, blissful spiritual body. He is the origin of all. He has no origin and he is the prime cause of all causes. He is the engine and rest are all bogies. Here Lord Brahma is saying that. Lord Brahma is the creator. He is, by the way, the secondary creator. Right? If you actually understand the creation, if you read Bhagavatam, you'll understand the creation. Right? Creation aspect. I'll get to that a little bit. So here Lord Brahma is actually talking about Lord Krishna. So this is another prayer by Lord Brahma's prayer in Bhagavatam. This is in the 10th canto, 14th chapter and 1st verse. So in this, let's actually look into the translation itself. I'll get to the translation. Lord Brahma said, my dear Lord, you are the only worshipable Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore I offer my humble obeisances and prayers just to please you. Right? O son of the king of cowherds, your transcendental body is dark blue like a new cloud. Your garment is brilliant like lightning, and the beauty of your face is enhanced by your gunja earrings and the peacock feather on your head, wearing garlands of various forest flowers and leaves, and equipped with a herding stick, a buffalo horn, and a flute. You stand beautifully with a morsel of food in your hand. See, in Shastra, there is so many mention of how Lord looks. We have just not made an imaginary figure of Lord. Right? When Lord, they say that his eyes are like lotus petals, his feet is like lotus leaf. Right? All this is mentioned in the Shastra. His lips are in the color of the bimba fruit, reddish in color. Right? So all these are mentioned in the Shastra. This is not something that I felt today the Lord should look like this, he should wear a jeans pant. That's not the way it is. Right? In Shastra, and here Lord Brahma himself is talking about Krishna and he's actually admiring the way Krishna is looking. Right? Let's look into what Lord Shiva says about Lord Krishna. Let's look into the translation only. So this is from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, 24th chapter and 42nd verse. It's called the Rudra Gita. You can actually read that. where Lord Shiva is actually talking about Lord Krishna, and he says, "My dear Lord, you are the topmost of all, bestowers of all benediction, the oldest and the supreme enjoyer amongst all enjoyers. You are the master of all the words, metaphysical philosophy, for you are the supreme cause of all causes. Lord Krishna, you are the greatest of all religious principles, the supreme mind, and you have a brain which is never checked by any condition. Therefore, I repeatedly offer my obeisances unto you." See, if you see all these top personalities, right? Worshipable personalities like Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, they are very clear in their head. We people of this mundane world, we are the ones who create. I don't agree with you don't agree with me, but they are very clear about their position. Right? Otherwise, in social media, if you just get people are just fighting. And what is happening? At the end of the day, you will die one day. Your social media comment will remain. Right? And these are all comments without actually having any kind of understanding about the scriptures. Right? So Lord Brahmaji or Lord Shiva is actually very clear as to who is supreme. Right? And they are mentioning here, there is one more from Srimad Bhagavatam itself. Please, if you want, you can take down this thing, okay? All the pramanas are actually given. Right? So here also Mata Parvati is actually asking, because when Lord Shiva is actually meditating, he's always meditating. Lord Shiva is always meditating. And Parvati Ma actually asking, whom are you meditating on? Right? And that's when Lord Shiva says, I'm always engaged in the offering obeisances to Lord Vasudeva. In pure Krishna consciousness is the always pure consciousness in which the Supreme Personality of Godhead known as Vasudeva is revealed without any covering. Who's Vasudeva? Krishna. Son of Vasudeva is Vasudeva. It's very clear. It's very clear. Right? Let's look into another thing. This one is actually, everyone knows this Mohini Avatar, Samudra Manthan, right? So in this also, you have to understand why this Leela happened also. When Samudra Manthan happened in Kshira Sagar, and they were actually taking out, the Lord had come as Matsya, and over that there was Sumeru mountain, and right, Dharmantri, and all those people, all these personalities came out. And there was Mohini Avatar, Lord took it form as Mohini Avatar also, right? So that she could actually give the Amrita to Devas and Asuras. So after the entire thing is over, Lord Shiva said that I didn't have a darshan of the Lord. So Lord Shiva is very, that's why he's called the topmost Vaishnava. Vaishnavam Yatha Shambho. Right? In Bhagavatam it says, in Vaishnava, if you want to reach Krishna, it is only through the mercy of Lord Shiva. Right? Because he is very dear to Lord Krishna. There are so many in Vrindavan. We worship Lord Shiva as Gopeshwar Mahadev. Right? In Ras Leela, Lord Shiva wanted to enter the Ras Leela, but he can't enter the Ras Leela because Ras Leela is for Krishna and his devotees, the gopis, right? And Shiva wanted to somehow enter. Lord Shiva wanted to enter, so he dressed up as a gopi, and he entered. And as he entered, Lord Krishna felt there is some change. I feel environment. There is some kind of change. We need to check if there is someone who has entered our Ras Leela. And when they were taking out the gungat and seeing, they saw one gungat with 3 eyes. So that is the relationship between Lord Shiva and Lord Krishna. And that's why we actually worship Lord Shiva. So because of his mercy, we will get the devotional service or do any kind of service to Lord Krishna. If he bestows his mercy, we will get Lord Krishna. That's why it's called Vaishnavam Yatha Shambho. Topmost Vaishnava. That is the position that is given to Lord Shiva, right? And in this Mohini Avatar, it is when during the Manthan Leela, Lord Shiva comes and does the biggest service, that is having the Halahal Visha. Nobody can do, so Lord Vishnu told only you do it, and Lord Shiva did that. And after that, he went and Mohini Avatar came, and he couldn't see Mohini Avatar, so he went back again to Krishna and said, "I didn't see your Mohini Avatar." So Krishna says, no, it's better that you don't see. Right? It's better you don't see. Because if Krishna decides if he wants to bewilder anyone, he can bewilder. He is the biggest thief. And he decides he can bewilder even Lord Shiva. That's why when Mohini Avatar came, and the whole Lord Shiva was behind Mohini Avatar. But ultimately Lord Shiva said, whatever, even if I went behind Mohini Avatar, it is my Lord only. right? So that is how the loving exchanges it is between Lord Shiva and Lord Krishna, right? Let's look at the another one. So it's in this Padma Puran, right? This is mentioned for Padma Puran. Lord Shiva is telling to Parvati of all types of Aradhanam Sarvesham Vishnu Aradhanam Param Tasmat Parataram Devi Tadyanam Samarchanam. Of all types of worship, worship of Lord Vishnu is best. And better than the worship of Lord Vishnu is the worship of his devotee, the Vaishnava. That's why we say, no, always serve the devotees of the Lord. Why? Because the devotees of the Lord will only explain to you about Lord. What you have not experienced, what you don't know about the Lord, the devotee will tell you based on his realization, based on his experience. So that's why Lord Shiva says that even better than worshipping Lord Vishnu, it is better to worship his devotee. Right? And this is actually a very famous shloka from Padma Puran. So in this, this is actually Brahma Samhita, and in this I'll just go through the translation only. It's actually such a nice verse. So we're talking about Durga Ma here. The external potency Maya, who is of nature of the shadow of Chit potency, is worshipped by all people as Durga, the creating, preserving, and destroying agency of this mundane world. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda in accordance with whose will Durga conducts herself. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Maya dakshena prakriti suchare suyate characharam. According to my wishes, the material energy conducts herself. Who is the material energy? Durga Ma. Right? This material world is called Durg. It's called fort. Durg means fort, and it is taken care by Durga Ma. And you see the three Trishul, right? Got 3 points. Those are the 3 kleshas. Adi Bhautika, Adhyatmika, and Adi Devika. So these are the 3 different kinds of kleshas that we have in our life. She is constantly poking. She is actually telling us, get out of this world. We are simply... These are 3 different kleshas. One is by our own body. One klesha is by problems provided by our own body. Another is problem provided by someone else. And the third one is the Adhyatmika, that is the natural calamities and all that is happening here. These are the 3 different kleshas that is there in everyone's life. She's telling her, get out, this is not a praise for you. But we are enjoying. Nahi, thodi der aur. One more year, then I'll start bhakti. One more month. See, all these devotees of the Lord are actually working to help us. Right? So we understand the position, right? The material world is taken care by Durga Ma and Lord Shiva. Right? And this is about Ganesha, right? And I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, whose lotus feet are always held by Ganesha upon the pair of tumuli protruding from his elephant head in order to obtain power for his function of destroying all obstacles on the path of progress of the 3 worlds. What do you call Ganesha? Vignaharta. Where does he get the power from? It's mentioned, where does he get the power from? Yes. It's coming from Govinda, Krishna. Right? Who is called Govinda? Krishna. Right? So even, that's why it's mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, 7th chapter, where it is mentioned that all the benedictions that you get from your Devi Devtas also, Krishna says ultimately it is coming from me. Because even the Devi Devtas are not independent. They are dependent. Right? That's why it's understood that even if you're getting benedictions from Devi Devtas, you have to understand that ultimately it is being sanctioned by the Supreme Lord Krishna. Right? Here also. If Krishna is supreme, then what about others? ऐसे बैठे क्या? ऐसा तो नहीं होगा? No. See, I give an analogy always. It makes it easier because we are all corporate people, right? We understand only this language. Right? This is the structure of a company. So we have CEO, then we have sales head, finance head, marketing head, purchase head, country head, R&D head, support head, and accounts head. This is the same thing when it comes to the management of the universe. Not just this universe. We have so many universes. We are talking about just our universe. Yet we still don't know anything about the universe. Right? So let's actually, this is a fun time actually. I'm going to ask some questions now. Who is the rain minister? Huh? Indra. Indra. Indra was your college mate? Why you call just Indra? Huh? It's Indra Dev. Right? Indra Dev. Who is the light minister? Surya Dev. Very nice. अरे आपको पता है सब मैंने ऐसे ही बना दिया ये सब. Who is called the power minister? Come on, this is tough. One extra sweet. Who are it? Power? No. No. Power in the sense power. What do you see? Power. Light. Agni Dev. Agni Dev. Water minister. Varun Dev. Wind minister. Why? Who's the treasurer? Kubera. Who's the finance minister? This is very famous. Lakshmi Ma is very famous. We worship no one, we'll worship Lakshmi Devi. Huh? Everyone wants that, no? The finance minister is Lakshmi Devi. Who is the home minister? Durga Ma is the home minister. Who is education minister? Saraswati Devi. Yeah. Who's the construction minister? Arey wah, very nice. Who is the creation minister? Devi. Who is annihilation minister? Lord Shiva. Who is path clearing minister? Ganesh, Ganpati. This is tough. Don't tell me, this is tough. Arey wah. Very nice. Yamaraj is the placement minister. He will place you. Going to hell, heaven, or going back to Krishna. So, you have to understand what is the need of demigods. So, if you see, a lot of you would have already heard that we have about 33 crore Devi Devtas. Right? Which is, by the way, too. Koti means, actually, there are two meanings of Koti. Koti means types, Koti means crores also. Right? In Sanskrit, every word has got different meanings. Right? You have to understand it is based on the context. Right? So 33 crore Devi Devtas is there, and 33 types also is there. Right? So if you look at 33 types, if you look at just the 33 types of Vasus, Rudras and all that, in that there is no mention of Lakshmi Devi, Ganpati and all that. So it all comes under that. Right? And that's why it is said 33 types is also correct and 33 crore Devi Devtas is also correct. So both are correct. So you have to understand. So every and it is called demigod. A lot of people take offense. It's not demigod. Demigod is another word for Devata and Devi. Nobody is putting any. We can't go to Krishna if you put people down like this. And these are very empowered and they work for Krishna. Right? A lot of people take offense because they don't understand what is demigod. So if you don't want to call it demigod, you can call it Devi, Devata. And these are very important people. And through their mercy only we can reach Krishna. Right? That's why I talk about gratitude, and we don't have that at all. Right? Varun Dev, Vayu Dev, Indra Dev, rain they are giving us. What gratitude do we have? We are acting like it is Janma Siddha Adhikar that we have to get sunlight. No gratitude. Right? So 33 crore Devi Devtas are there. And they have been given different, like we have spoke about the different, even to manage, it says, even to manage the eyelid, right? Closing and up. There is a Devi Devta here, called Nimi or someone. Right? And that is, so like that, even to manage the bowel, there is a Devta who is handling it. There are so many things that we don't know. And then we say, 33 crore kaise okay? Right? Imagine keeping 33 crore Devi Devtas in our altar, worshipping them. कब खत्म होगा पूजा कब खत्म होगा हाँ it's so difficult, right? But these ones you have to understand, they have a certain position that is given. These are position. Even when it comes to Brahmadev is a position that is given, right? It is mentioned in scriptures. So Brahma has 100 years. Brahma is also not eternal. Brahma lives 100 years. His 100 years is not like our 100 years, right? He is from Brahma Loka. And his 100 years, if I give you a calculation, I'll give you a small calculation, okay? So his 100 years, he lives 100 years. His 1 year has got 360 days, right? And if I tell you about his one day, in his 1 day, there are 14 manvantras, okay? 1 day, I'm talking 12 hours, 14 manvantras. Each manvantra lasts for 71 Divya Yuga. One Divya Yuga is how much, you know? One Divya Yuga is one Satya Yuga, one Treta Yuga, one Dwapar Yuga, one Kali Yuga. Like that, one manvantra is, my God, if you calculate some 12 lakhs, or I don't know how much, 16 lakhs, that is one. Like that, 72 manvantras there in one manvatra. 72 Divya Yugas in one manvatra. Like that, 14 manvantras are there. So right now, as per Shastra, Lord Brahma is 51 years old. Yeah, midday. And you have to consider ourselves to be very lucky, because Krishna descends in his original form only once in a day of Brahma. In his original form. Krishna might come, he might send his expansion, right? But in his original Vrindavan form, Krishna comes only once in 1 day of Brahma. And we are lucky, we are in that yuga where Krishna came 5,000 years back as Krishna himself from Goloka Vrindavan. Now, if we don't take this as something that is very important in our life, we are just here. It is not an expansion of Krishna. Krishna will send his expansion also. But this is original Rajendra Nandan who has come. So we should take this so seriously that we are in an era where Lord just appeared. Our Supreme Lord just appeared 5,000 years back. We should consider ourselves so lucky. Lekin nahi. Right? So if you separate, there should be a separate class for Lord Brahma's the years that he lives, right? And then, now you all might have a question. See, Prabhuji, you actually spoke about Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, but there are various Puranas also where it mentions that if we talk about Shiv Puran or Devi Puran or different kinds of Puran where there is mentioned that Lord Shiva is supreme, Devi Ma is supreme, right? You all will have that question. Again, for the question, again you should all refer back to Shastras. Here again Lord Shiva himself is mentioning in Padma Puran to Uma Devi. Uma Devi is Parvati Ma herself, another name. Oh beautiful lady, one should know that the Vishnu, Naradiya, Bhagavata, Garuda, Padma and Vara Puranas are all in the mode of goodness. The Bhabbanda, Brahma Vaivarta, Markandeya, Bhavishya, Vamana and Brahma Puranas are in the mode of passion. The Matsya, Kurma, Linga, Shiva, Skanda and Agni Puranas are in the mode of ignorance. There are three modes of material nature. Everyone knows that. Goodness, passion, ignorance. So even the Puranas come under these modes. Right? When we talk about Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavad Purana, it comes under the mode of goodness. It doesn't mean that the Puranas are actually into the mode of passion or ignorance. No, it caters to people under the mode of passion and ignorance. Right? Because there, see, if you actually talk about a person who is under the mode of ignorance, if I talk to him about breaking the cycle of birth and death, he will think, hey, kya bol raha hai? Breaking the cycle? Ye kaun sa cycle hai? Right? So there are different gradations of consciousness also. So Lord wants to encompass everyone. You should have someone who you are serving in your life. Right? Someone who is greater than you. You can take anyone as greater than you. Serve. And ultimately you serve, if you are serving Lord Shiva, you serve Lord Shiva. Ultimately Lord Shiva will give you an understanding as to where you are supposed to go. Right? So that's why there are various gradations that is also given. Right? I cannot talk about trigonometry to a 5th standard student. Will you understand? No, he has to come to 10th or 11th standard. Then only I can talk about trigonometry. So there are various consciousness levels of people. And Lord is someone who wants, because for him, everyone is his kid. He can't let anyone go. Right? For him, he's all loving, so he wants to encompass everyone in this journey. That particular person who is in the mode of ignorance, who is actually worshipping someone else, he will ultimately get the understanding to come back to him. It might take ages, many lifetimes, but ultimately the goal is actually to get him back to this stage, the mode of goodness. Right? So even when I'll give you an understanding, when I was talking about meat eating, right? The meat eating mention is there in scriptures. So people are very addicted to meat eating, right? So for them, it is mentioned that you can actually take a specific animal, goat or whatever animals is mentioned, I don't remember. And you have to supposed to take that animal to far away from the village where you're staying, 10, 15 kilometers away. And you are supposed to cut the animal in front of the ghastly form of Durga Devi, which is Bhadrakali, or in ghastly form of Lord Shiva, which is Kalabhairav, no? Kalabhairav. You can cut in front of that, and you have to say one prayer, and you have to say Mamsa in the ears of that animal. Right? A lot of people think the Mamsa is just flesh. Right? The Mamsa actually means, the real understanding, if you actually make Mamsaha, it actually means this life I'm taking your life, next life you can take mine. Here we are giving a commitment to whoever animal that we are killing. Right? And so the reason why we are doing that, why this is given in scriptures is, see, ultimately when a person does this, here we don't do this because we are not, nobody is killing the animals here, right? That's why it's easy for us to eat. It's nicely decorated in the supermarket, right? It even looks better than the fresh vegetables, nice strips, sausages and all that, right? So people will be thinking, wow, so nice. But in Shastras, it was written how you are supposed to eat. And the ultimate reason why it was given that way is when a person actually goes 10 kilometers, takes so much pain to go outside the forest, outside the village and cut with his own hand. If he is a person with a little heart, his heart will melt. See, the ultimate aim of scriptures you have to understand, it is actually to better us. At a later point, he is thinking, what am I doing? Why am I taking all this stress? I am telling Mamsa, I am actually giving a commitment also. Right? See, the ultimate aim is that that you come out of this particular habit. Right? The Lord wants to take up, but if you are so this thing, but you do this. But who will take so much pain, right? So now with that pratha, that custom is not followed anymore. Now people are ordering from supermarket, right? And so that's why it's always given that but the scriptures are always there to actually better us only. At a later point of life, we also feel, why am I doing all this? I should come out of this. See, that is the ultimate. That is how people move from mode of ignorance to mode of passion to mode of goodness. Right? So listening to Krishna Katha or listening to Bhagavad Gita is also in the mode of goodness. That's why you are all here. There is certain level of goodness in all of you. Nobody, like I mentioned, in the mode of gunas, not everyone is completely 100% sattvic. No, there is different gradations there. Someone might be 70% sattvic, 20% rajasic, and 10% tamasic. It is the different levels that is working upon us. Right? So I think on Sunday, I think most of us are very sattvic. Right? So here, that's why this will clear the doubts that we have about various Puranas also. So what I'll do is, 12:40. I know you might have a lot of questions. Questions, because I know a lot of times in this particular session, I have a lot of questions. Yeah, people have a lot of. So we'll actually I'll take another 5 to 10 minutes. I'll take questions, and if someone's question I have not answered, I will answer it while we are having prasadam. Okay. So, any questions? Yes, Prabhuji, you can pass the mic.
Okay, you told about Shiva Purana having more of ignorance.
Yes, Prabhuji.
And likewise, Shiva Purana is more of passion. And Garuda Purana probably more of
Yes.
I mean, in what sense, I mean, only
Okay. Okay. So these are the modes. See, actually, if you talk about, if I give you an example, Lord Shiva is actually given a very difficult responsibility of managing people under the mode of ignorance. Right? So these are the people who are very materialistic. These are the people who are constantly thinking about their sense gratification. Right? And he takes care of all these people. Right? And for them, it's advisable. A lot of people actually have worshipped Lord Shiva also for materialistic things also, because he's called Ashutosh. Right? He's easily pleased, and he'll give you everything that he wants. Right? And that's how his nature is. Lord Shiva's nature is. He's all compassionate and he's all loving. So here there are people. So even when people are actually offering the meat, it is not actually taken by Lord Shiva again, right? But he is given the opportunity, he is given the responsibility to manage people. I talk about the three different gunas, right, Prabhu? So in that, a person whose ignorance level is a lot high, he actually goes under that particular, reads that particular, and gets influenced by that particular, that particular Purana, right? But it is not something that he will remain in that stage, right? These are gradations that is given so that people can rise above. So it is actually totally different, and these are not Puranas. Puranas itself is not a mode of ignorance. It caters to the people who are under the mode of ignorance or passion. Puranas are all good only. Right? It is meant. It is given so that at least you are not able to take the Supreme Lord's shelter. Take someone else's shelter who is worshipable. That's why it's given. You take shelter of Lord Shiva. You take shelter of Ma Durga. No problem. You worship them nicely. Ultimately, they will give you an understanding as to which is the right way. So that's why I say no Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambho is saying. Ultimately, Lord Shiva will also give you an understanding that where you have to go. That is his biggest blessing. People don't ask that. What happens is when, I'll give you another example which happened. The gopis of Vrindavan, right? They wanted to have Lord Krishna as their husband. And they prayed to Mata Katyayani. The Katyayani is the form of Durga Ma. So this is the mood that even if you are worshipping Devi Devtas, the mood is to actually get Krishna. So the gopis worshipped Katyayani. Why they worship Katyayani? They are not asking for gold, silver, new clothes. They are asking for Krishna. Because they know the Mata Katyayani or Lord Shiva, someone says they will have more power. But Krishna has to do. Krishna has to do. That's why we say no, before worshipping anything to Krishna, why we do Aarti of the Guru? Why we offer prayers to Guru? Because Krishna will listen to his devotees. Right? Krishna will listen to his devotees. So if we go with a recommendation, how we get into a company? Right now it's very difficult to get an interview. If you know someone in the company, a recommendation. That's the word, recommendation. That's how we get connected to the hiring manager or whoever it is. Similar way. That's how these Puranas were made actually to cater to everyone, Prabhuji. Cater to everyone who are under the mode of, and these modes will be at a certain level for certain people. Right? And some people are also in the mode of, but their deviation is there. Some people might be in the mode of Satvik also, but they still have read these Puranas and get influenced. That's fine, Prabhuji. Ultimately, in this life or next life, they'll get to a better understanding there and come back to the mode of goodness. That's why it's made. That's why it said, no, in Sanatana Dharma, we don't set 10 commandments, you need to follow this. No. They are given. What is better for you, it's given. And you are supposed to take a call. Even after explaining Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, Sri Krishna, who is the Supreme Lord, doesn't tell him, do this. Now I have explained you this entire divine knowledge. Now do as you please. The Supreme Lord is telling. Who are we to tell anyone to do anything? Because he knows. He doesn't come in between the free will of the people. He doesn't want to do that. So he will give in the Bhagavad Gita also. There are various things Lord tells. And then it's according to us that we take it up. But as an intelligent person, we should always take up something which is good and which is beneficial for us. Right? I hope I have answered your question probably. Any other questions? Mataji has question. Hare Krishna.
You have used one word for giving collection. This is Prema Lakshana Bhakti. So I want to understand from you that what are the symptoms of Prema Lakshmana Bhakti, and what are the ways and means to further enhance that journey?
Okay. Actually, there are 9 limbs of bhakti that is given in our Shastra, right? And in that 9 limbs, the first one starts with Ado Shraddha, Tata Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, and ultimately it reaches Prema Bhakti, right? And that is a very difficult phase that we need to walk, right? So Ado Shraddha, when you say about Ado Shraddha, to start a spiritual journey, some kind of faith we need. We spoke about that in the last class. Anything to do, we need some kind of faith, right? And when we have that kind of faith, then we have sadhu sangha. Then we long for sadhu sangha, like-minded people. Come on, sit with them. Some faith I have. So come on, sit with them and hear about Krishna, right? Once we start hearing about Krishna, the next thing is bhajana kriya. We start doing activities, right? And then this progresses. There is nishtha, ruchi, and then ultimately comes to prema. The nishtha is steadiness, ruchi is then more interest, right? And then ultimately comes prema, right? And this is how there is attachment, and then comes prema. So prema is the ultimate stage, and that is not something that we can achieve right away. And chanting the process and doing devotion services will actually take us to that level, right? And that's why I said no. Whenever we are doing activities, put your hand, put your hand, put your heart, put your hand, put your head, and put your heart into whatever devotional activities that you're doing. Right? And that is the ultimate stage of Prema Bhakti. And if you're talking about Prema Bhakti stage, there are different kinds of symptoms that is mentioned in scriptures. Hair standing, eyes popping out, there is sweating, we are shivering, right? These are all the symptoms that of a Prema Bhakti. These are symptoms of a Bhakta who is ecstatic when he hears about Lord, when he hears about Lord's one name itself. We are 108 names, we are struggling. We have a long way to go. Right? And it's not that it's impossible. It's not impossible. Right? You put our faith, you put our determination, you be sincere in this activity. And we will reach that stage. With the help of our gurus, with the help of sadhu sangha, it will always help us. Right? I hope I have answered all this. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you, Sanjay.
Hare Krishna.
My question is, as per this, omnipotent gods are different and different form and different bodies, but I have heard that in the tattva, they all are one. So can you just explain?
No. Tattva also is different. Right? Tattva also, there is Vishnu Tattva, there is Jiva Tattva, and there is Shiva Tattva, Shambhu Tattva. Right? These are three. See, Lord Shiva is not just a Devata. Right? Lord Shiva is above Devatas also. He is very close to Lord Krishna. Right? That Tattva is totally different. The Vishnu Tattva is the same. Vishnu Tattva comes Vishnu, Lord Vishnu and Lord Krishna. Shambhu Tattva is for Lord Shiva. And Jiva Tattva is for Lord Brahma and we Jivas. And that doesn't mean we take Lord Brahma as our friend. No. In Jiva Tattva also, he has got more qualities than a Jivatma like us. Right? So these are the three Tattvas, three main Tattvas, Mataji. So in the topmost is Vishnu Tattva. Okay. I hope I have answered. Yes. As a Tattva, yes. There is difference. Even if you see the qualities, where Krishna has got more qualities than Vishnu. Krishna, it is said that Krishna has got, Mahavishnu has got 60 qualities. And Krishna has got 64 qualities. Right? There is Rupa, there is Venu, there is Rupa, there is Leela, and there is one more. Right? And these are the 4 different extra qualities of Lord Krishna. And when it comes to Lord Shiva, I think he has got 54 qualities. And Lord Brahma in full, I think he has got 50 qualities. And Jivatmas, we have got, I don't know how many qualities. Tattva is actually, the real meaning of Tattva is actually to know in truth. That's the real understanding of Tattva. To know the absolute truth of that particular Tattva. Yeah? No. Anyone else? I can take one more question. Anyone else? Otherwise, if you have questions, keep in your mind, you can actually ask me. Very good.
These qualities will come.
Yeah.
Actually, all these are also pretty good.
Yes.
So, both are provision.
No.
Try to say that what is it?
No, no, no. So there is no problem in calling Lord Ram also a supreme. There is nothing wrong. We take Lord Ram as supreme only, Lord Vishnu as supreme only, Lord Krishna as supreme. But it is said in Shastras that if you read Bhagavatam, there is a verse, Canto 1, um, uh, Canto 1, Chapter 3, and verse number 28. Right? So, Sukadeva Goswami talks about all the avatars of the Lord. And 1.3.28 he says, Ete chamsakala pumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. I have explained all the avatars, right? All the avatars he's mentioning about Lord Krishna. And he says, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. See, any Shastra, there is a Paribhasa Sutra, which means the emperor verse of that particular scripture. And Srimad Bhagavatam 1.3.28 is that emperor verse, or called the Paribhasa Sutra, which means Krishna is Swayam Bhagwan. He is the original candle. And from there, if I talk about the creation, which is mentioned in Bhagavatam, I'll give you a little understanding. It might be a little difficult. So the first thing is Krishna, who is always present. Right? He's always Anadir Adir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. He's always present. And he expands. His first expansion is Balram. Krishna's first expansion is Balram. And then comes first Chaturvyuha, which is Sankarshana, Aniruddha, Vasudeva, and Pradyumna. And from Sankarshana comes Narayan. And from Narayan comes Dvitiya Chaturvyuha, Mahasankarshan, Aniruddha, Pradyumna, Vasudeva. And from Sankarshan, again Mahasankarshan, comes who? Karanodakshaya, Vishnu. Even in Vishnu, there are 3 Vishnus. Nobody knows this because we haven't read our scriptures. Right? So there is Karanodakshaya, Vishnu. And Karanodakshaya Vishnu is the one who is actually sleeping in the causal ocean and breathing. And when he's exhaling, unlimited Brahmandas are coming out of his mouth. And the next expansion from Karanodakshaya Vishnu is Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, who actually goes into each universe. He goes into each universe. That is Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And from Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, there is Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, who goes into the heart of every living entity. I've just explained, this is just a start. Right? So now we understand how Krishna is the main point from where the creation begins. Even if you read Srimad Bhagavatam, there is Chatu Shloki Bhagavatam, where in Canto 2, verse number, chapter 9, verse number 33 onwards, I think there is 4 shlokas which was given to Sri Brahmadev before creation. And that was given by Sri Krishna. That again emphasizes the same shloka which I told, that is 1.3.28. Ete chamsa kalapumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. So that means that all the avatars that I've told you about is either the expansion or plenary expansion of Lord Krishna. And he is Swayam Bhagavan. So that is mentioned by Vyasadeva itself. So all the incarnations that, see, one of the reasons why we think that everything emanates from Vishnu, which is not wrong, I'll tell you how. See, most of the people talk about Dashavatar. That is because Jayadeva Goswami actually made that very famous. But in Srimad Bhagavatam, there is mentioned that Krishna actually takes infinite avatars. Infinite, just like the ocean tides. Can you count them? We can't count the ocean tides. That many avatars Krishna has taken. But Jayadeva Goswami made that for that particular poetry. He made that 10 avatars, and people think there is only 10 avatars. And one of the reasons why people think it is not wrong to think that Krishna is an avatar of Vishnu. I'll tell you how. So Krishna never actually is in touch with the material world. He's always in the spiritual world. But when Krishna wants to descend, avatar, what does avatar mean? Ava. What is Ava? Ava, I'll tell you in Hindi, Aavo. Aavo. Gujarati, what do you say? Huh? Aavo. So Ava means come. Tara, Tarine, come down. It is not someone who is just made. Who is coming down? Krishna. Krishna is coming down from where? From Goloka Vrindavan. But if he wants to come to material world, he comes through Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. That's why it said he's an avatar of Vishnu. So one way it is right also. So there is nothing wrong. But the original focal point or original person, the Supreme Lord, who is it? It is Sarva Karana Karanam. That is Lord Krishna. The Ajinkya Prabhu might come out of the door. From that door he walked through. But he is not born out of that door, right? right? That is just a pathway for him to come, right? That is the way we understand this. Yeah. So what you'll do, I know we might have some more questions. We'll actually, while we are actually eating, I'll actually answer those questions. So let's chant for 5 minutes, please. Take out your beads. See, when I listened to this lecture for the first time, I was startled, like many of us. I was thinking so many things in my life I didn't know. So many things. And this is just the start. I just gave you a creation, just the start. There's a whole chart of creation, how the material world is created. And there are so many things, right? And it's very fascinating, very fascinating. And it's all mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. It's like, I'll request you, if you all want Srimad Bhagavatam, right? You can place, next week, Kartikeya Prabhuji is coming. I invited Kartikeya Prabhuji. If you're actually buying Srimad Bhagavatam, I'll ensure that Kartikeya Prabhuji is handing it over to you. So anyone wants, I think there are installment basis also you can pay if you don't want to pay it in full. But Srimad Bhagavatam is Grantha Avatar of Krishna. Getting Srimad Bhagavatam at home is the most auspicious thing, right? And it's like, see, Bhagavatam is like a love letter from Krishna, right? Bhagavatam is like a love letter from Krishna, and we read that daily, right? And it's very important to get Bhagavatam in your house. Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam should be there in the house, right? And if you all want, so please do get in touch with Kunjesha Prabhu or Arun Prabhuji there at the bookshelf. Place your order. I'll ensure that your Bhagavatam set is actually given by Kartikeya Prabhuji. I'll request him to do that. So what more than getting a Bhagavatam from a sadhu itself, right? It's the most auspicious thing. And it's Gita Jayanti, and there is nothing more auspicious than getting Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita home, right? So I think as Sanatan Dharmis, we all should have a copy of Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam, I think there are 18 books, by the way. It'll take us lifetime to finish it, but it's filled with so much knowledge. And see, and one of the reasons is just Bhagavatam is not just for us to actually gain so much knowledge. Knowledge will help us, but the ultimate goal is actually to love Krishna. And Bhagavatam will help us with that. The knowledge will actually help us to love Krishna. Okay? Everyone has got the beat? Yeah. So let's all close our eyes. Next 5 minutes. As the Yoga Dharma says, we need to beats. Okay. I think some of us don't have beats. Please do get your beads also. We are in the spiritual journey, so I think we all need to have beads and japa bag ourselves. It's important to have this. This is our phone to reach Krishna, right? So please, here anyone gets out of the house without a phone? Nobody, right? Nobody, right? Impossible. See, Prabhuji says impossible. So that should be the same thing. This is impossible. You are going out, you're going to your office, you're going out. You should have your japa bag. Be it in your car, be it in your bag. Have it. Whenever you have free time, chant Lord's name. It's only beneficial. There is no loss. That's what Krishna says. Right? Swalpa apyasa dharmasya tayato mato baya. There is no loss. All your degree, everything, your money will go when you're dead. It all goes. What carries? It's only the bhakti that carries. So carry your bhakti, no? This is only beneficial. There is no loss at all. Right? Okay, everyone given? Wait. Yeah. So the next 5 minutes, let's focus. So mantra meditation means meditating on the Lord's name that is coming out of our mouth. So the next 5 minutes, we are just going to focus on the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Nothing else. Right? So keep your mind focused. Only just hear the 16 syllables that are coming out of your mouth. So please repeat after me. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Let's chant together. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram